racing Tsunami at the time, and it was 1990. Just had a little accident where I hurt my back, so I decided not to race Tsunami, and Skip Home was the race pilot. And also at that time, the airplanes were becoming, their performance was way ahead of P-51. Bob Hoover ran the pace with a stock P-51, and as a racer, you come downhill, gentlemen, you have a race. I mean, we are almost dead idle when he lets us go, and he's running his stock Mustang at takeoff power. So it was very apparent that the planes are just not suited, and it also provided I won't say unsafe environment, but a very difficult race start. So we started using a T-33, and that year I was unemployed, so to speak, because I wasn't flying Tsunami, and there was a T-33 performing here called the Red Knight, and I had a lot of T-33 experience, so everybody asked me if I would do the pace plane. Bob Hoover asked if I would handle the pace, and he would handle the safety overhead, and so that's where it started, 1990. My job as a pace pilot is, it starts on the ground. We all start up and we all taxi out, and I watch how everybody's taxiing, how the procession is going. As we get to the end of the runway, race control clears us for takeoff. I'll taxi by every racer, and they give me a thumbs up, and I can visually look at their airplanes, and I look at the pilots. And then I'll start my takeoff roll, and I call 60 knots. And they know that it's time, that I'm down the runway well enough where the #1 airplane behind me can start his takeoff roll. And depending which direction we take off, we have a set, pre-briefed profile that we fly. Like for instance, if I take off to the east, I'll rotate, put the gear up, come way back on the power, and depending which race it is, let's say it's a gold race, I'll come back to about 200 knots on the climb, and I'll head east a mile or two, and then start a big left 270 turn, which takes us all the way across the valley and puts us on a downwind for the chute, going in a formation. It's not an air show formation, it's just a standard formation. It lets everybody get in the same sky in a relative position to each other where we're safe, we can operate, and get everybody to a position when we come down the chute, and nobody has an unfair advantage. We have an experienced observer in the back seat too, so I can fly and I can watch the guys, but it's real important obviously to pay attention to the profile that I'm flying, because I can't make any more right turns into the formation. I've got to be real careful on how we're leading everybody around. So I'll turn on to a final approach at about 9,000 feet. Line up on what we call the chute, which is the run down towards the race course. Start a gradual descent and start powering up. And I'll let them go on the gold race. We're indicating 380 to 400 knots on the let go at about maybe 2,000 feet above the ground. And then at that point, when I say, gentlemen, you have a race, I pull it straight up and roll upside down, and I'll watch them go by the guide pylon to see if anybody has cut a guide pylon or ever at that initial start. Then I'll just pick up an orbit overhead, and I usually orbit at 190 to 200 knots, just overhead in a circle. Anytime during the race, if anybody needs any help, then I can help them if they need my help. Once in a while, somebody will have a oil on the windshield, or they'll have an emergency where they'll need, if somebody calls a mayday, I'm in a position, I'm already at the altitude they're gonna pull up to, and I'm already at a speed where I'm on the step, I can accelerate, catch them, and I can help them identify an issue, or if they're busy in the cockpit, I can keep them, into the game, so to speak. Come back to the airport, turn left, the airport's behind you, And I've seen that before, somebody get busy in the cockpit, can't see where they're going or something. And I'll follow them around, and I've had to tell guys they're running out of runway too sometimes. They can't tell if they land a little hot, a little long, and you can't see over the nose. Those are kind of services I try to provide. And I know all the guys who fly, and I know their abilities through the years. And it's a great honor to do it. These are the best pilots in the world right here. For this event we're doing, this pylon racing, it's the only place like it in the world. And Some of these guys are, you know, amazing pilots.